Hi, boys and girls. Welcome again to Acadiana's Mother Goose Show. I have some wonderful books to read to you today. Let me go ahead and take my little mask off right here. Just trying to be safe for you. This is a wonderful book by an author that I've read her books before. Her name is Lori Orlinsky, and the book is illustrated by Vanessa Alexandra. And it's called The Tooth Fairy's Tummy Ache. Now, Ellie has been eagerly awaiting the day she can finally trade in her first baby tooth for a coveted prize from the Tooth Fairy. But when the time comes, the unthinkable happens. Ellie swallows her tooth. Knowing she can't disappoint the Tooth Fairy, Ellie decides to lie about what really happened to her tooth. In Fairyland, will Ellie be able to set things right again? Let's read this wonderful story. You see, it happened when I was eating a juicy red apple for a snack. I was chewing and chomping when suddenly I bit down and heard a crack. There's Ellie, eating an apple with her friends. My first tooth was finally coming out. All it took was something yummy. But when I went to collect it from my mouth, I realized it had landed in my tummy. This wasn't the plan I had thought of in my head. I had to think of something fast before I went to bed. Poor Ellie swallowed her tooth. Has that happened to you? I searched high and low for something tiny and white, even though what I was doing wasn't really right. The Tooth Fairy wouldn't visit if she didn't have a tooth to take. So I put a kernel of popcorn under my pillow as a replacement fake. There's Ellie going to sleep, and the little Tooth Fairy's coming by. This child's tooth feels a little strange and doesn't look quite right, but I'll trade it for a silver dollar. Hop on my toothbrush and fly out of sight. There's the cute little Tooth Fairy on her toothbrush. Back to the workshop I go to add this tooth to my collection, but this one looks rotten upon further inspection. It's too round to string and too tiny to glue. What can I do with this tooth? I don't have a clue. I call my fairy friends who come over skipping and hopping, but when they get close to the tooth, all of a sudden it starts popping. It's the little Tooth Fairy with all her little friends, her little fairy friends. Pop, 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 pop. Oh my goodness. Quickly it spreads from the floor to the ceiling. I know I should try to stop it, but it's hunger that I'm feeling. There's nothing left to do but say ah and open wide. Popcorn rains in my mouth and fills me up inside. I just love the pictures in this book. So she's eating all the popcorn. Uh-oh. A few minutes later, there isn't any mistaking. I feel really yucky because my tummy is aching. So I stay in bed and skip the work I need to do. But what's going to happen when everyone wakes up feeling blue? Oh, She ate too much popcorn. The grandmas and grandpas would be missing their new dentures. My friends wouldn't have necklaces for their dress-up adventures. The night sky would be without all of its shiniest stars. Tooth fairies wouldn't have flying dust, so they'll have to drive cars. Suddenly it hit me. I had a hunch. Maybe she lost this tooth while she was having lunch. I go through the window for the second time tonight. I had to explain to this girl the difference between wrong and right. She's going to see Ellie because Ellie put a fake tooth under her pillow. She put a kernel of corn, which popped into all this popcorn. I tap on her shoulder and whisper in her ear, "Lying won't get you anywhere. Do you hear me, my dear? It's best to be honest and always tell the truth. You should have just told me that you swallowed your tooth." There's a little tooth fairy talking to Ellie while she's sleeping or trying to sleep. She flashes me a smile with a toothless grin, and I feel a new friendship is about to begin. I'll leave you this notepad so you can write me a letter. When you lose your next tooth, hopefully it'll work out much better. There's Ellie and the tooth fairy and the notepad. Oh, wasn't that a good story? So the tooth fairy wanted to teach Ellie that it wasn't right to lie about having that tooth. She should have just told her that she swallowed the tooth accidentally. This book, as I was telling you, was by Lori Orlinsky and illustrated by Vanessa Alexandra. And she is a multi-award-winning children's book author based in Chicago. She is a lifetime member of the No Cavity Club, and her dentist always calls her a superstar brusher. Inspired by her own experience misplacing her first tooth, Lori hopes this story will give kids a glimpse of what it's like inside the Tooth Fairy's workshop, as well as a lesson on honesty. Oh, this is such a great book and such beautiful pictures. I certainly have learned a lesson from it myself. Other books that Lori has done is called Being Small Isn't So Bad at All, or After All. So I'm hopefully going to be able to read that one of these days, okay? But for now, I do have another book by Lori that I have read before, but it's a great book called Balloons for Tiger. Again, it's illustrated by Vanessa Alexandra, and I'm going to start reading this. It was a cold winter day when the balloons for Tiger floated away. They sailed off to heaven, tied to a string. Their parents hoped it was warmth and comfort they would bring. "Where do the balloons go when they're up in the air?" the little one asked with a puzzled stare. Mom said they go on an exciting vacation until they reach their final destination. This is another great story with some beautiful pictures. They had lost their cat, Tiger. A gust of wind pulls them over our house. In a few days, they may make it to Rome. They'll dance with falling leaves from a tree, fly over meadows, lakes, and even the sea. There they are in Rome. They may tangle a bit on a power line, but after an hour or two, they'll be just fine. Santa and his reindeer will save the day, scooping them up and onto his sleigh. See, they're trying to send messages up to Tiger in heaven. That's their little cat that they lost. They'll get excited when they see a giant plane bound for an adventure all the way to Spain. They'll pose for selfies with daredevils skydiving and spot storks delivering babies soon to be arriving. The tooth fairy will whisk past them in the middle of the night. They'll smile for her and show off their pearly whites. They'll feel lots of booms and a strong vibration and watch the skies changing colors in a 4th of July celebration. They'll dodge raindrops one long wet afternoon and squeal with delight when they see a cow jump over the moon. They'll spot the colorful glow of Saturn's rings and catch some shut-eye nestled in an eagle's wings. And there's our little friend, the Tooth Fairy. She's in this book. They'll watch the sun rise and set with ease and whirl past kites, butterflies, and bumblebees. They'll get away from astronauts on board a spaceship, which will turn out to be the best part of their trip. See, the balloons are going up in space now. They'll hitch a ride on a superhero's cape and watch a beautiful constellation start to take shape. They'll finally get to see a shooting star, a sign that heaven really isn't that far. When the balloons get to Tiger, it will be sunny and bright. After the long journey, what a welcome sight. Music plays and animals sing and dance. They bark, moo, snort, and prance. See all the animals up in heaven? And that's where their cat Tiger is. Suddenly they spot Tiger sitting on a cloud. When they see her, she starts meowing out loud. She's delighted by the gift they sent above and makes a plan to return it with a token of love. See, there's their cat Tiger up in heaven on the clouds. The little girls look up to the sky, and it's a rainbow they spot from the corner of their eye, a sign that Tiger is safe and sound, even though she isn't around. See the cloud in the shape of the tiger over here? Yeah, of Tiger the cat, right there, with a little heart on its chest. She'll live on in the memories in our hearts and head. We'll kiss her picture goodnight when we go to bed. Tiger isn't sick anymore, and she's perfectly okay. And we'll continue to remember her each and every day. So there's the two little girls with their picture of Tiger. Oh, this is a lovely story, don't you think? Oh, my goodness. This book is dedicated to Tiger, the amazing cat who chose to spend her days on Earth with us. She loved eating, sleeping, purring, and cuddling with our daughters. Though she is gone, she lives on in our hearts. We will love her forever. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of this book will go to the Anti-Cruelty Society in Chicago, Tiger's first home. We are grateful to them every day for putting Tiger in our lives. And there's some pictures of the two little girls and Tiger. Here's the foreword written by Alison Bork, who is another friend of mine who writes the Alley Cat series. They are our forever friends, the ones who purr and bark with joy when we arrive. Over the years, we are filled with laughter from their tricks and consoled by their companionship. Unfortunately, the thrill of having a pet as a family member goes hand in hand with the heartbreak of losing them. This grief might even be the first time a child experiences coping with a loss. As you comfort your child's emotions, let them know that their feelings are valid and natural, and that you feel the sadness too. Show them pictures of the good times with their pet, and share stories of the funny moments. Most importantly, let them know that their memories will last and that they can honor their life with positivity, just as Lori has advocated within this book. Lori and I have a lot in common. We both write books. We love our children and our animals, and we find comfort in the lessons of a good book. This book is one of those that warms and consoles the heart and instills affirmations that leave you feeling whole. It's not just a children's story. It's the perfect tool to help families honor their pet in a positive way, a bridge to overcoming sadness and finding joy with the confirmation of knowing that it will all be all right. Lori has a passion for storytelling and an unwavering commitment to empowering others with her writing. Parents want to safeguard their children from the pain of losing a loved one, and in doing so, sometimes protect them by shielding their feelings. Balloons for Tiger will comfort kids by showing that their forever friend is safe and sound, even when they are not around, and giving them the strength to smile again. That was a lovely foreword that's written by Alison Bork. She's an award-winning author of the Alley Cat series. This is just a beautiful book. It helps children cope with pet loss and provide them with positive memories. After reading this book, I will think of Tiger and my late pets whenever I see a rainbow. And that was written by Dr. Robin Barberas, DVM and past president of the Anti-Cruelty Society. Balloons for Tiger is a delightful rhyming book that is filled with hope, a wonderful story that can help families have reassuring conversations about the loss of a beloved pet. That was written by Jed Doherty, producer, host of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Balloons for Tiger is perfectly written to help young children understand the loss of a pet, and the illustrations will speak to visual learners. That was written by Nicole Ewald, a first grade teacher. Balloons for Tiger helps normalize the confused, scared, and sad feelings a child may feel and be unable to express. A great tool for processing emotions. And that was written by Jennifer Silverman, LCSW. This is just such a beautiful book. Here's Haley and Ellie saying goodbye to Tiger. Did you see them right here? Yes. Let's see, there's some coping strategies for parents that are included in this book to help children when they do lose a pet. Let's see. Number 1, questions are important. Make time to speak to your child, encourage his or her questions, and create a safe space to talk about feelings. Let your child know it is normal and healthy to feel sad and to miss their pet. Number 2, tell the truth. Offer a clear and simple explanation for the loss of your pet. Use your child's age, maturity, and developmental level as a guide to determine what type of information you want to share. Number 3, memorialize your pet and honor your pet. Children need the chance to say goodbye. Encouraging your child to release balloons, draw a picture, write a letter, plant flowers, frame a picture, or display their pet's items, such as a leash, bowl, or collar, can provide a sense of closure and celebration. It is especially beneficial when the entire family can partake in the activity together and take joy in happy memories. Number 4, time is of the essence. It is important to remember that everyone grieves at their own speed and in their own way. Do not push your child to talk if they want to be quiet. Simply let your child know you are available to listen when he or she wants to talk. Number 5, share the love. Sometimes making plans to volunteer at a pet shelter or playing with a neighborhood family or friend's pet can help refocus one's thoughts on life instead of death. Be careful to avoid jumping to this step too quickly, as it can backfire and highlight the pet's absence instead of filling the void. Now, these coping strategies for parents was written by Jennifer Silverman, who is an LCSW in Chicago, Illinois. It's so helpful for parents to help talk to their children about this. Let's see, there's also some Common Core discussion questions for educators, and this was written by Nicole Ewalt, elementary school teacher in Chicago, Illinois. What did the parents hope this story would bring to the girls? What did the girls learn from this story? At the end, where will Tiger to continue to live on? Who is the most important character in this story? Why do you think this? How do the girls know Tiger is delighted by the gifts the girls sent? Does Balloons for Tiger tell a story or give information? How do you know? What can we learn from Balloons for Tiger? How does Tiger feel when she sees the gifts? How do you know? How do the girls feel at the beginning of the story? And how do their feelings change at the end? And the last one, how are the girls' feelings similar to Tiger's feelings when they spot each other? These are some great ideas for educators to use this book with their students. I can't wait to read her other stories. She has another book called Being Small Isn't So Bad After All. So I'm hoping to get that one. It'll be great. Again, about the author, Lori Orlinsky is a multi-award-winning children's book author who lives in Chicago. She was inspired to tell this story after her family experienced the loss of their beloved 18-year-old cat, Tiger. Unable to find books about pet loss to help her young kids cope with their grief, Lori wrote Balloons for Tiger. She hopes this book will help others too. Balloons for Tiger is Lori and Vanessa's third book collaboration. And about the illustrator, Vanessa Alexandra is an illustrator and writer based in Sao Paulo, Brazil, working as a freelance illustrator on children's books and editorial illustrations since 2007. She participated in expositions like Cow Parade and Football Parade in Brazil. In addition to her work, Vanessa visits schools across the country, performing literary activities and illustration workshops. Balloons for Tiger offers an uplifting example of coping with loss and grief in a whimsical yet tangible way, which is wholly appropriate for a young audience. That was written by the Anti-Cruelty Society in Chicago, Illinois. How can children begin to heal after losing a pet? Balloons for Tiger takes an imaginative look at this tough topic as colorful balloons travel from the hands of children to their beloved cat who has passed on. This book lets children open up their hearts and imaginations for a magical journey to the farthest corners of the world, where they'll meet skydivers, astronauts, superheroes, and everything in between. As they watch the balloons voyage to the other side of the Rainbow Bridge, they learn to positively process their grief. Well, I hope you enjoyed the 2 books I read today, The Tooth Fairy's Tummy Ache and Balloons for Tiger by Lori Orlinsky. Thank you again, and I'll see you again, okay, next month with another story. Bye-bye. Acadiana's Mother Goose on my YouTube channel, okay? Bye.